We've got an update on the restricted free agency of Cam Thomas and Josh Giddey, plus Al Horford's contract with the Golden State Warriors revealed, and it's why he's currently not signed. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications as well. All right, so we've been keeping a real close eye on the big four restricted free agents. You've got Quentin Grimes, Cam Thomas, Jonathan Kuminga, and Josh Giddey, all of them stuck in staring contests with their incumbent teams. Cam Thomas may be in the worst situation out of any of them right now. The Nets offering what he considers to be, and frankly, what I consider to be too, below market value. The Nets offering a 2-year, $28 million deal with a team option on the second year. Now, that is the exact problem that Jonathan Kuminga has, except for the dollar amount. Jonathan Kuminga being offered significantly more money, but Cam Thomas essentially being offered mid-level exception money. Cam reportedly sees himself as being worth upwards of $40 million because he's comparing himself to some of the guys that are out there on the market, like Jalen Green and Tyler Hero. There were reports on that last week, and that is how he sees himself, as somebody who could be worth upwards of $40 million. I know he would probably take $30 million, but this is why. He's a 24-point per game scorer, 3.8 assists, 3.3 rebounds last season, but of course that was on high volume, 18.2 shots per game last season, 35% from three, so not the best efficiency, but then again, on a bad Nets team, efficiency is going to be something elusive, but still, is he just putting up big numbers on a bad team? I think that's the way the NBA sees him, and there's still questions about whether or not he is truly a starting caliber player, or is he an undersized, score first, defensive deficient player that tends to be seeing their value drop around the NBA. When we talk about guys like Malik Monk, that style of player just isn't as needed in today's NBA right now. So Cam Thomas sees himself one way, the NBA right now, the market saying they see him another way. And so he's stuck with just a mid-level exception offer or playing for the qualifying offer. And this is why, of the big four, he's the most likely to play for that qualifying offer. This is Jake Fisher confirming that it's still from the Nets, a 2-year, $28 million deal, team option on the second year, which means that Cam Thomas would have a de facto no trade clause. Again, same situation as Jonathan Kuminga, but the Nets would probably, I would imagine, this hasn't been reported to my knowledge at this point, but the Nets would probably ask him to waive that no trade clause, just as the Golden State Warriors are doing so with Jonathan Kuminga. So Cam Thomas, out of everybody, if the Nets offer really is sticking at mid-level exception money for 2 years and a team option on the second year, this guy, if he sees himself as better than Jalen Green, better than Tyler Hero, better than some of these guys that have north of $30 million, he's going to take that qualifying offer and he's going to try to prove it this season. And I can't wait to see the battle between Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas on the Nets to see who can get the most shots up in any given game. But he's not the only one in a tricky situation. Josh Giddey, also, according to Jake Fisher, threatening to take the qualifying offer with the Chicago Bulls. Now, the Bulls, however, are already committed to Giddey. They gave up Alex Caruso in order to get Josh Giddey in a trade that they were widely criticized for. Alex Caruso wound up being an important player on the championship-winning Oklahoma City Thunder last season. But Josh Giddey threatening to take the qualifying offer with the Chicago Bulls as well. Remember, if any of these guys take the qualifying offer, it's a 1-year deal with a no-trade clause in it, and the player would become an unrestricted free agent next summer. So that would be a dangerous situation for any of these guys, for their incumbent teams anyway, because they could then walk away from their teams and those teams would lose them for nothing via free agency. So Chicago doesn't want to lose Josh Giddey at all. They're reportedly been offering about $20 million. So if that's the case, that's not what Josh Giddey sees his market as. Kind of similar to Jonathan Kuminga. He'd like somewhere upwards of $30 million. However, Chicago has shut down all sign and trade situations, said we don't want to trade him. That's similar to the strategy that the Warriors are using with Jonathan Kuminga. The difference is the Chicago Bulls actually really want Josh Giddey. I think a deal gets done here. They want Josh Giddey. I think in the Warriors, there's questions about whether or not Jonathan Kuminga is the long-term fit for them. And Jonathan Kuminga himself realizes that the Warriors are probably not the best place for him long-term either. So very different situation where the Chicago Bulls value Josh Giddey very highly. According to Jake Fisher, they actually had multiple first-round picks offered to them last year for Alex Caruso, and yet they took Josh Giddey over that. Pretty crazy, though. They did a deal with the Thunder, who have all the picks, and yet they didn't get any draft capital back in the Alex Caruso trade for Josh Giddey. That was remarkable. But Josh Giddey played well enough for the Bulls last season. I think they're happy with their return right now. I do think ultimately a deal gets done, but Giddey is still going to threaten to use that qualifying offer and try to get the Bulls to get closer to that 30-ish million that he wants. But let's talk a little bit about Al Horford and the Jonathan Kuminga situation, because right now, Jonathan Kuminga is the one, as I said, who really doesn't want to stay with the Golden State Warriors. It doesn't make sense for him to be on the Warriors. Doesn't make sense for the Warriors to have him. The Warriors just want to make sure they don't lose him for nothing. They don't want to lose an asset for no return. So that's what this is about. And that's what Jonathan Kuminga is mostly upset about, because as we talked about the other day, he feels like a pawn in the situation. But while Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors are trying to see who's going to blink first, Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, Seth Curry, Gary Payton II, these guys who have all been linked heavily to Golden State are just stuck sitting out there. And now we've got a little bit more understanding of why. Why is this not getting done? Why are they just sitting out there? So Jake Fisher reporting that Horford is going to make upwards of the full taxpayer MLE. So that would be roughly a $11 million deal over 2 years. And that's what he notes here. It's a 2-year deal with a player option for Al Horford. So why is that significant? Because using that taxpayer MLE would trigger a hard cap for the Golden State Warriors at the second apron. And if they were to be hard capped at the second apron, that would, in theory, give the Brooklyn Nets a number that they could offer Jonathan Kuminga that the Warriors would not be able to match, because they would not be able to exceed that hard cap for any reason. Right now, if a huge offer came in for Kuminga, the Warriors could still match that number and go above the second apron if they needed to do it. Right now, they're far enough below to where it wouldn't be too big of a problem. But right now, there is not a number that a team could offer Jonathan Kuminga that the Warriors can't match. If the Warriors were to go ahead and ink Al Horford to this deal, boom, instant hard cap at that second apron, instant number that the Warriors can't match unless they would make some other kind of move in order to free up space. And that would incentivize a team like the Nets to swoop in with an offer for Kuminga. But the Warriors remain very confident that they are going to sign Al Horford, according to Jake Fisher. He's still sitting out there as a free agent. Look, as we get closer to September, though, the pressure to get this done is only going to increase. It's only going to increase as we get closer to September. At some point, Al Horford, Melton, all these guys, they're going to start to say, hey, come on, can we get this done already? Training camp is coming up, right? We are, 5 weeks away from training camp. They need to get these deals done. So the Warriors need resolution with this Jonathan Kuminga situation sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, the Warriors believe that whenever they figure out a solution to Jonathan Kuminga's standoff with them, Al Horford will join the team, and we're looking at a 2-year taxpayer mid-level exception deal for Horford to join the Warriors. That's most likely what we're going to see happen here. I think he's going to be a great fit in Golden State. I love the pickup for them, but they are the only team right now that has done nothing official this offseason, and that's because they're stuck in this holding pattern. But these guys, these free agents, they're only going to wait so long. And I have to wonder, if you're an opposing team, are you calling Al Horford right now and checking in and seeing if his resolve wavers? Are you calling DeAnthony Melton and saying, hey, the Warriors, they still don't have you signed. They still don't have this situation figured out. Who knows what's going to happen? What do you think? We've got an open roster spot. At some point, I think teams are going to start making those calls if the Warriors don't get this done. But everybody, give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. What do you think about Al Horford for the Warriors? A 2-year deal with a player option. Is that too much, maybe, on a 39-year-old player to include a player option? Is that just the price of doing business here? Does Cam Thomas become the first of these restricted free agents to take the qualifying offer? Give me your thoughts in the comments section. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.